Yes, my brothers, how are we doing? I'm back with another video. My name is Harrison Chamberlain. I'm an online coach and I run my one-to-one coaching, and I also run something called Alpha 2.0, which is my group coaching. Now, in this video, I'm going to go over why you're not getting results. Okay, so why you're not getting results in the gym. For many people, it's a big issue, right? People are going to the gym, they're looking the same 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, but they're wondering why, what's going wrong. I'm going to run through a few common misconceptions that people say, metabolism and things like this. One thing I do want to talk about is this next slide. So I'm going to present this to you. Once it does it. So I'm going to present this to you. So this is a video of me post after training, right? This was after post push. This was like last week, nice and pumped. And this is how we're currently looking. So you can see I'm pretty shredded. I'm sitting at around 76 kilo. Little chest bang. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good and looking good. And I just want to say, I've been here the past, from training, and I don't mean on and off training. I've been here for the past 10 years. I've been training consistently since 15 years old, 16 years old. I'm 26 now. I started boxing at about 14, 15. I was in the amateurs for like 4 or 5 years. I think I had my last fight around 2020, COVID, in the championships. And since then, I started, when I stopped boxing, I originally stopped from an injury. I stopped boxing and sort of decided to start hitting the weights. I was running a lot as well, things like this. And I stopped boxing. I used to fight around 68, 69 kilos, so I'm 76 now. So, but, I was 69, 68 shredded back then, and I'm 76 and pretty shredded, lean now, but I'm carrying a lot more muscle tissue. And I just want to say, if you expect to look good and your training is crap, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like when I walk in that gym, I walk out of that gym and I train with intent. Like I'm knackered. I'm knackered after training. I'm knackered after legs. But I know, one, I need to give a good solid reason to grow muscle. Like I'll track my lifts in my notes, and I'm making sure I'm upping my reps. I'm making sure I'm progressively overloading. One thing I always do, I always have a top set of 6 to 10 reps, or 8 to 10 depending on what it is, and then I always have a back off of 12 to 15. That way I can progressively overload week on week. If I need to change my training up and add a bit more volume, I will do. But a lot of you are expecting to look good, but your training is ass. Like your training is poor. And this is what I'm, on this YouTube, I'm going to keep things raw and real and give you the truth. So a lot of things that I hear is my metabolism is rubbish, right? I hear this all the time. All the time. It's boring. Your metabolism has adapted to what you are doing, right? So if you had a active job before, then you've got a new job where you're sat in an office and 6 months later you've gained a load of body fat and you're wondering why. You're just like, whoa, my metabolism has just gone crap. Well, of course it has. It's adapted to what you're doing. Your metabolism has slowed down because you've slowed down. If you're sat in an office all day, you're not doing any more than 3 or 4K steps. You had a job previously where you was on a building site and you was getting 10,000 steps, or you had an active job like you was a plasterer or a bricklayer where you're constantly moving around. It's the equivalent to doing all these steps and keeping your body moving. Of course, your metabolism, you stopped what you're doing. So it's going to happen, right? I also hear, I've tried everything, right? Most of the time, you give up after 2 weeks of seeing no progress and people quit. You do well Monday to Friday, you blow it on Saturday and Sunday. And this will allow you to tell yourself, you're good Monday to Friday, Saturday to Sunday, you do not track anything and you go well over the top. I can guarantee you that all your progress gets thrown out the window on that Saturday and Sunday. You have to remember, if we train, 5 days a week, you can train spot on Monday to Friday. If you're eating rubbish Saturday and Sunday and that Friday night and you're drinking, goodbye to all that progress. Goodbye to all that progress. And then you can tell yourself, yeah, but I've got to have some fun. Yeah, you do, But this is why I always say to people, you are better off tracking, because what you don't track, you don't know. What you don't have for data, you do not know what you're doing, right? You do not know what you're doing. How do you grow a business? You track data. If you don't know what you've done the last month, how are you going to know what you want to do that next month, right? You're just going off guess. You're guessing. But one thing I will always say, if I was working with someone, that had an eating disorder or things like this, I probably wouldn't get them to track, because it can create a bigger problem. From here, we would go like portion sizes. But for the majority of people, we can track. And just like I've got lads on with my coaching, most lads are actually quite shocked what it takes. They're saying like, it's simple. I followed your framework. It's simple. Yes, I had to do some work, but it's simple. When you've got someone there that knows what they're doing, yes, it will be a simple process. But the hard work is you maybe meal prepping or sticking to your calories and macros when your mates have gone out on the weekend. Even though you can calorie bank and things like this, you're not there to be a monk, right? You're not there to be, oh, sorry, mate, I can't come to your birthday meal and have a steak. It's not like that, right? And unless you're trying to compete and do a show, yeah, you got to have a lot of sacrifice towards the ends of those, weeks, 6 to 8 weeks and things like this. You do have to sacrifice. But most people, that's like 0.01 of the population. Most people just want to get in shape. Not tracking liquids and oils. Remember, every drink you consume, sugary drink, every bit of mayonnaise, ketchup, in fact, mayonnaise is a huge one, right? Liquids, oils, butter, olive oil, all these oils need to be tracked. My weight has plateaued. That's another one. I'm eating such low calories and doing all this cardio, but I'm still not dropping body fat. Okay, I'm doing too much cardio, but again, the scales aren't moving. I lost the weight before, but gained it all back and more. So I'm gonna run through a few things of why I think this is happening. So as I said from the previous slide, my metabolism is rubbish. Your metabolism has adapted to what you have given it to do, right? If you are now sat on your ass, you're not lifting weights, you're not doing anything, you're not moving your body, of course you're going to go and gain body fat. You're slowing your metabolism down. You are doing it, right? It's adapting. Our body is very, very intelligent, right? If I just stopped getting in my steps daily, stop going to the gym, I'd probably start to gain body fat, because my body is just like a fired up machine now and that's because I'm training pretty regularly, 4 or 5 days of the week. I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu twice a week. I'm very active. My job's very active, and I'm not sitting around on my ass. If I was, then I would start to gain body fat. My metabolism would adapt to what it's doing, right? You also hear the concept of people saying, I've tried everything. Now, what most people mean is they've tried for 2 weeks, saw no progress, and then they've quit. Right? That's not trying. That's also, with most people, you're just guessing what you're doing. You're guesstimating. You don't really have no clue. You're just tracking for a few days. Then some days you don't track. And then you tell yourself you're being adherent, and you're not. Right? You do well Monday to Friday, and you blow it on the Saturday and Sunday. As I previously said, most people, right, you could be eating 1,900 calories Monday to Friday. And as soon as that Friday night comes, you consume 3K. Saturday, 3K. Easily done, right? Easily done. You don't need to think you're eating 6 meals in a day. And Sunday, 3K. That is your deficit completely out the window. And that has put you in pretty much a surplus. I can guarantee pretty much that is what's going on. Not tracking liquids and oils. With every meal you have, remember, like, you are likely cooking. If you're using olive oil, I can guarantee you most of you are probably squirting 200 or 300 calories of olive oil. If you're eating 2 meals, let's say 2 cooking meals in a day, there's 600 calories each day. Plus, if you have a bit of mayonnaise, there's another 150, 200 calories. There's another 750 calories daily that you're adding that you don't even know about. Grab yourself a Coke at lunch. There's another 140, 150 calories. There's another 900 calories that you're completely missing just by them small things. It doesn't have to be meals. It doesn't have to be all things like that. So the next one is my weight has plateaued. A lot of people, this can link to underneath. So you're eating such low calories, right? You've started slamming yourself doing cardio. You've gone straight into low calories, doing an hour cardio a day. Your body might not respond. It might not become very responsive. What you're telling your body here is, for a lot of people, you could be doing way too much, and your body just starts to become not responsive because you're asking too much for it, right? This is why sometimes gradually going into a deficit, pulling from 250 calories to 500 is a good way to go about it. When you want to drop body fat, you want to do as little as you can, but obviously with actually, with getting results. I'm not talking like as little as you can, like, oh, let's take a small deficit of 100 calories and let's do 5k steps, because it's not really going to happen. I would always say, let's say you're doing 5,000 steps daily. Let's push your steps up to 7,000 to 8,000 steps daily. And then let's work out what your maintenance is. Let's sit you there for 2 weeks, see how you respond. Then we drop 250 to 500 calories. It all depends on people's goals as well. Some people might want a bit more rapid, might go a bit more aggressive at the start. Some people might be higher body fat, so their body doesn't actually need a lot of calories, because they already have a lot of calories on their body. They already have a lot of body fat, so it can tend to come off like that. It can tend to melt off with these sort of people. So I lost the weight before, but I gained it all back. Now this is another big thing that people say. They lost the weight before. For most people, I don't even really need to guess what happened. They lost the weight before. They haven't tracked their food. They haven't tracked their protein. So when you lose body fat, your body also, if you do not give a reason to hold the muscle on your body, so if you do not lift weights correctly with good intensity, you're not telling your body that you need that muscle basically. If you're not eating enough protein, you can go 1 gram to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight, then again, your body is going to pull from muscle as well as the body fat. What this is then going to do is, when you're losing the muscle, you're going to be slowing your metabolism down. So when you get to the end of that dieting stage, and then you start to eat back to normal again, which, I say to anyone, when you do finish in a dieting stage, you want to slowly up your calories anyway. Most people finish their dieting stage, 16, 17, 1800 calories, 1900 calories, whatever it is, and they shoot themselves straight back up to eating normal. And their eating normal might be like 3,000 calories. That's a huge jump. So you can see why you're starting to gain that body fat back quick, right? So you've lost the muscle and you've gone straight back to eating a huge chunk. So you are going to go put that weight back on pretty quick and more from losing that muscle and slowing your metabolism down, right? This is what people do. A lot of people can be quite ignorant and think they know what they're doing. But trust me, I would just say to a lot of people, if you don't know what you're doing, then get a coach. All right. So the core focus and what I think people should be doing is why they're not seeing results. Nutrition is 80% of the focus, right, to actually dropping body fat. Training, if you're not training with intent, muscle will not be retained. This is hugely important in a deficit and why you're not seeing results. Step target and keeping consistent. You need to keep consistent with that daily. It's not just about one day doing 10k steps and then the other day doing 2k. It's not going to work. You need that end goal, that end target. So that is that video covered. That is why a lot of people are not seeing results. That is why people are stuck, right? And if you want to see more content on this and more about how I get the lads I coach in shape, going over basically real raw results, education, exactly like this video, because I believe this is going to be helping a lot of people out. You can always drop a comment below if you have any comments, and I can also help out and answer back. Then also you can head over to my Instagram, which is Harrisons_coaching. Drop me any questions on there, any message, and I'll be sure to help out. And if you've got a topic that you want me to talk about, I can always make a YouTube video. So lads, girls, boys, I'll see you on the next one, and good luck with your journey. Keep at it.